Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. So today's video is a bit different. As you can tell, I'm recording this on my phone. I am away from my house just for this last day, and I wanted to still get out a video for you. So I do apologize if the audio is messed up, if it's really quiet, or if the resolution is low. This won't be for long. This is going to be the only video on the phone, but I am a bit far away, so I couldn't record it, but I still decided to give you guys an update. So today's video is going to be a video about a pattern that hasn't occurred in a very, very long time. Now, the most memorable pattern that I could compare this to is probably 2012, when, if you recall, it was just absolutely really, really dry across much of the United States. It was below average in terms of precip, and it was hot during most of the year, especially the hottest time of the year, July. And if you were to look at the forecast right now, you can see that hot temperatures are in forecast and dry weather is in forecast. No really big storms. So just really bad news in terms of drought and the weather is going to be nice. There's going to be a lot of sunny days, but I'd much rather, take some rain over them. So if you guys consider subscribing to this channel or consider liking this video, that would be amazing. I really appreciate each subscription and each like I can get to keep this channel moving, so thank you so much for that. Let's look at the GFS model, which is basically the global forecasting system, and you can see that this is the average precipitation rate, millimeters per hour. And notice that as we play this through, hopefully you could see this. I'm not sure how this will all turn out, so I do apologize if anything is wrong. Again, this is the only video that this is going to be recorded on. You can see that it seems like there's a lot of precip, right? But again, it's a GFS, it's a global model, so any precip that is happening, it shows way over exaggerated. Like, a dot on a map that is green, that's the size of, like, say, Chicago, is usually just maybe one shower and not a cluster of storms. Anything significant is in the yellow colors, or the red colors and the brighter colors. And you can see that, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for some rain across random locations, but it's not widespread. It's more isolated. So anywhere, if you go in the south, you can notice southeast, you see quite a bit of rain across the southeast portions of Georgia, Alabama, Florida. Apologize, I also don't have a cursor in today's video, so that's going to be a little bit tougher to see things. But notice that across those locations, we see more precip, and just generally, though, if you were to look across the central part of the country, not much rain and very, very hot. You can't tell just based off this map unless you have a trained eye, but I can tell that the temperatures off this map are just ridiculously off the charts. And notice towards the end, we may start getting some thunderstorm complexes to the north across Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and that's with the ring of fire pattern that is usually associated with the ring of fire pattern. That happens when there's a high pressure in the middle of the part of the country, and severe storms, thunderstorms are all precip to the south and to the north, and that's why the southeast will be wetter, and the northern parts of the United States will be wetter. So let's go to total accumulated precipitation quickly, and you can see that fares pretty true. Southeast, quite a bit of rain. Not really dry, but the central part of the country looks as if that's a lot of rain. That's still below average, and again, the GFS may be overestimating some of these amounts. So you usually want more rain when it's hot, and this is really not going to help out a lot. Notice if you were to look at the northern plains, you also see Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan. We see quite a bit of rain, and you can see it's way more substantial than what you would see across Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, all those locations. Okay, so if you were to look now at the temperatures, 2-meter temperature anomalies, you'll see much more red, and it will be at a greater color than the blue. Notice it was below average across parts of the west. You can see the states right there, pink and purple, but that really fades away, and the color that stays is the red, and the above average temperatures, you can see it's just all red, all orange, and it really gets to a point where most of the country is covered in some sort of above average temperatures. And notice the southeast is cool. That is because of cloud cover, and so is the northwest. And again, the southeast is where it will be or possibly more rainy than the rest of the United States. So that's definitely something to know. Notice that as we continue, really no sign of relief. It just looks hot, and hot. So now let's look at it. The thing is that's going to be even more remarkable about this about this pattern is that this pattern is gonna bring nighttime temperatures very, very high. It's, the daytime temperatures are going to be hot above average, but really it's what's striking is how warm the nighttime temperatures are. I was looking at my forecast for my location, and some of our nights were almost approaching 80, which I know if you live in the Southwest that may be irregular, but usually the nights here max out in the lower 70s if it's a warm spell. And if you see lower 80s during the night, that's just absurdly hot for a night. And then the daytime highs are going to be 90, so I guess that correlation of deviation from average is a bit different. The daytime it's a bit warmer, yes, and it's tolerable, but then the nighttime is when things are supposed to cool off. It does, but not in terms of the deviance from average. It grows. So I would also like to take a look now at the Climate Prediction Center and look at the 6 to 10 day outlook. So you can see this extends from July 9th through the 13th. And notice that this is the temperature probability made July 3rd. So today, as I'm recording this video, notice that we see above average across 80-85% of the country, then a little bit of below normal across the northwest, but generally just warm. And the reason why this pattern hasn't occurred in such a long time is because we've had plenty of I guess patterns where it's above average temperatures ever since 2012, right? But this is correlating with the hottest time of the year, and the above average temperatures are pretty significant. And also the pattern isn't wet at all. You can see it's dry for the most part. It's wet across parts of the East Coast, Southeast, and Northern Plains, but it's really just dry across the central part of the United States, across the Midwest, really the western Midwest, into parts of the Southern Plains, just really dry. And if you were to look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, it's almost like if there is no change. I mean, you can barely see a changed pictures right there. Other than that thing you can tell is that the dates are changed from July 11th to 17th. So at least through the first 2/3 of the month, it looks above average, and you can see much of the United States is smoking hot in terms of temperatures. Kansas, Nebraska. I mean, I can name all of 48 states. 47 or a little bit less. Out of the lower 48, I could name 44 states, excluding parts of California, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Washington. And notice that it's just it's remarkable. And in terms of the precipitation, below average. So we may not only be getting a drought, across the locations where drought is often viewed as often not viewed as, but often it takes place. The West, California, Nevada, they have a drought right now, and that's probably going to get worse. But this may also increase chances of drought across the South and into parts of the South. It already isn't normally dry, but across portions of the Northern Plains and Midwest, and into even pushing as far into the Mid-Atlantic regions. So that is definitely something we just have to take note of. This is probably more dangerous than most winter patterns. Winter patterns, people tend to think they're very dangerous. He is kind of like a silent killer, because you may not even know if you have heat stroke or heat exhaustion. You may come home and off the hot sun, or you may still be far away. If you're on a bike trail, you just may feel weak, pass out. If you're not with anyone, no one will be there to help you. It's really dangerous, and it could cause more accidents to happen. People get mad when the heat is, it's muggy, it's nasty. So this is definitely, it will have an impact on your day-to-day life, and it's unfortunately coinciding with the hottest time of the year. Now, if this was October and it was above average, that would be pleasant. You'd see 70s, 80s, as usually it's 60s or 50s across October. But in July, you just don't want above average temperatures, and unfortunately, that's what 44 out of 50 states will be seeing this July. At least the first 2/3. Notice that if we push this forward to the European model now, you can see that again, just a lot of you can see red colors, the orange colors. That indicates the heights being high, and you can see that the dark color, the dark orange, and some idle runs. We've actually even see some purples, which if you could see right there is that 600 way up right there, that the highest scale of this map. And we saw some purples across the west, which indicates very hot temperatures. And notice that really that cool air stays to the north, and as well with the storms. As you can see, there's a bigger storm right there across portions of I think that is Quebec. You can see West Quebec and 997 millibars in the low pressure. It's significant. It's a pretty large storm, but it stays to the north and doesn't hit us. And maybe a bit cool off right there for northwest. We'll have to see. But generally, just very, very warm and unpleasant. Let's look at the GEFS. If you are, if you work on if you want beaches, if you want stuff like that, it's gonna be good for you. It's gonna be nice and warm. The water's gonna be warm even when in areas where it's not supposed to be warm, like the Great Lakes. Notice this is the ensembles now. You can see much of the same story. So really dry, hot pattern. Not the best news you want to hear when it comes to anything really crops. Your gardens. Your lawns, if your lawns are going to start drawing out with low precip, high temperatures, and also just not good news for the well-being of yourself. It doesn't feel good to be all muggy and nasty, so it's really just just not pleasant. I want to quickly look at the Precip Anomaly, and you can see that you see more yellows and greens. If anywhere, the greens are just across the southeast and the northern plains, but there's quite a bit of yellows, and they do dissipate further off. You can see right there across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, they dissipate as you go further into the time, but that's because the confidence is lower. But at this point, it doesn't look like this pattern will be breaking for a while. I could go to the climate models, but they really just do a poor job in the first place, and this takes us out, into August. You can see it's a mix. It's not really a decisive pattern of any sort. Let's look into the monthly. Just for the fun of it, you can see that they're showing mainly warm pattern, possibly. I mean, this is very far out. You can see it's the winter months. We'll see about that. But I think if I were to give you an honest opinion, I think this heat will continue, or this above average temperatures will continue into August and possibly even September, maybe breaking by October. So that's my little 2 cents on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you were okay with today's recording on this phone. I don't know how it'll turn out. I'll be even surprised if this ends up uploading because of various factors. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to this channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.